Hi, and welcome to the Bible Tribe Word of the Day. I'm Denise Pass with Seeing Deep Ministries, where we see deep in a shallow world and overcome the battles of the mind with the Word of God. Believers need to be all in their walk with God. Partial obedience is not really obedience at all. We're reading today in the book of Numbers, chapters 1 through 4, and the verse of the day is Numbers 1:54. So the Israelites did everything just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Word of the day is all. It is the Hebrew word kol. It means all, everything, any, whole, the whole of something. According to the Theological Word Book of the Old Testament, this verb and its derivatives occur 21 times, 8 of which are in Ezekiel. The root meaning is to be complete or whole. Numbers continues the story of Israel after the exodus of Egypt as they were camped out after a year at Mount Sinai. Numbers is set up according to the stages of the Israelites' journey. And the beginning of the book, chapters 1 through 4, has a census of God's people and then the arrangement of the camp of the Israelites. The tabernacle was at the center of their existence as a people. Every time there are a bunch of rules, there's always a rule breaker in the midst to challenge those rules, to do things a different way, right? But in this instance, in chapter 1 of Numbers, God's directions were carefully followed. As it says, the Israelites did all this just as the Lord commanded Moses. How effective our churches would be if we did that today. But as we continue in the book of Numbers, we will see this was not always the case. Today, confusion arises when people interpret God's commands or His word with their own perspective, claiming things are not black and white and that there are gray areas. I have seen this statement abused as people claimed to have freedom and ended up in sin. Are you all in with Jesus? We demonstrate being all in by being people who live according to God's unchanging word, not the culture. We demonstrate all in by not being a stumbling block to our leaders and following their leadership. What ways do you perhaps compromise being all in? Ask God to show you where you might be fudging things a bit to satisfy your wants rather than His. The good news is God is going to finish the work He began in us. When we recognize where we are not all in, He will help us. Go with God and His precious word, friends, and join us tomorrow in the book of 2 Kings.